A classic horror story? It's actually a religious film. Yep, I said it. It's a religious film, and I came with my proof. So, let's deep dive and break it down together. Welcome. My name's Emma, but here you can call me closed captions. This isn't another horror channel. It's where I give my 2 cents about what horror films are saying about our fears, society, and just the human experience itself. It's smart, it's spooky, and most of the time it is going to be chaotic. So, if you're ready to dive into the shadows with me, hit subscribe and the like button, and then we can ascend together. Before we get started though, I do want to know, when y'all wake up in the morning, do y'all ever feel like a certain meme, or like the meme just like captures your vibe for the day? Because this is how I'm feeling. Anybody else feeling like that? Anybody have like a certain meme they're feeling like? Drop it in the comments down below because I want to know. I feel like that's how my mind works. Maybe it's a little bit weird and unusual, but this is who I am today. So, without further ado, let's get into it. A classic horror story is what we're going to be diving in today. It is a 2021 horror film. It is out on Netflix, so I do recommend going to see it. I will be giving spoilers as we do a deep dive into the storyline itself. So, yeah, I really hopefully you've seen it. If not, maybe this will shed some light on it. Maybe you can get some new perspective into it. I'm going to be running over like the camera angles as well as audio. And then we're going to get into the deep nitty gritty of it. So let's jump in. So a classic horror story written and directed by Roberto Defro and Paolo Stripoli. I probably pronounced those so wrong. I'm actually going to put them here. That's where I have the most space. I'm gonna put them here. I'm so sorry. No disrespect. I am just severely dyslexic and can never pronounce anything. It's a fantastic, witty, and thoughtful story of a woman processing through guilt and shame as she fights to survive this cult led by South Italy's most powerful politician and her family. So it's like a mix, in my opinion. I've seen a lot of Reddit opinions out there, but in my opinion, it seems to be like a twist between Midsommar and The Cabin in the Woods, with a little bit of humor from Scream. It's definitely a fresh movie for the modern age, with on-edge suspense and toe-curling kills. The film seems pretty straightforward with a few plot twists here and there. However, on a deeper level, the film is subtly revealing Elisa's struggle to follow through on an abortion and confronts the truth about how those circumstances came to be. Now, disclaimer, I call Elisa a lot, so I am so sorry. If I start saying Elsa, please know I mean Elisa, because it's been a struggle. So just know that they're one and the same if I start mixing them up. So, set in South Italy, our heroine, Elisa, embarks on a trip to her parents' house to undergo an abortion that is eagerly encouraged by her mom. Using a ride-sharing app, Elisa is introduced to Fabrizio, Riccardo, Sofia, and Mark. Fabrizio is an aspiring horror movie director and online influencer who is filming his trip for his followers. Riccardo, the doctor, is struggling with a suspension from his job as well as a fractured marriage, while Sophia and Mark are a young couple on their way to a wedding. So during their night drive, drunken Mark loses control of the RV and they end up crashing into a tree. And in a regular horror movie fashion, the 5 travelers find themselves in a clearing with an ominous red house and an ever-looping forest bringing them back to the same spot. Through the journey, we learn of a human sacrificing cult that worships 3 deities, Osa, believe it's Mistrosa, and Carnosa. They're portrayed as the hear, see, and speak no evil trio. As Elisa becomes separated from the cult's sacrificial activities, she realizes that Fabrizio is the one who's directing the cult, as his mom is the leader of the group. With the last bit of strength and clear sense of self, Elisa seeks her revenge on Fabrizio, in which she can purge her consciousness of the oppressive masculinity that has been plaguing her. This movie is written and directed with horror fans in mind. The visual and audio framing of each fear factor is subtle yet effective. So for example, when Elisa wakes up from the car crash, We get this half circle slow spinning shot that plays in the disorientation that Elisa is experiencing. It creates this sense of unease and confusion as she's trying to process what's happening. In the same moment, you have the three other travelers, so Sophia, Ricardo, and Fabrizio, attending to Mark's injuries. So there's another layer of isolation built into this moment because she's not looped into what's happening. We clearly don't need to see Elisa's expressions to know that she feels some sort of panic or scared or confused, etc., because that would be our natural responses as human beings. The audience is able to project their own response onto the situation. It's really a genius way to engage the viewers while also breaking the fourth wall with fear. Another great example of engaging the audience is when the travelers and the tongueless girl Chiara try to escape through the woods. They're soon met with the sight of multiple empty crashed cars. The use of the wide angle expresses the amount of families and the length of time the cult has been taking victims. It elicits this overwhelming doom and shock that builds on the mystery of who this human sacrificing cult is. It brilliantly creates this oh shit moment with the viewers, and it's just topped off with the first line of dialogue being,
"We're not the first people."
The impact of this scene as a horror fan feels like you're a traveler within the group trying to make sense of the situation with them. In conjunction with the unnerving camera angles and abrasive audio, the religious symbolism paints a bigger picture for Elisa's coming to terms with a sexual assault and finding the courage to step into the role of a mother. So within the first scene of the entire movie, we are met with the image of this stag head overlooking a brutal see-no-evil death. The scene then transitions into a zoomed up frame of Padre Pio showing his stigmata wounds. The saint is highly revered within the Roman Catholic Church for devotion and miraculous gifts. He symbolizes faith, humility, and divine mystery. The stag head symbolizes a longing for salvation or liberation. Both scenes work together to foreshadow a significant realization for our protagonist. As our rising action starts to ramp up, Elsa, Fabrizio, Ricardo, and Sophia enter into the red, eerie house and find a young girl in the attic. This girl, later named Chiara, is found within a round straw structure without her tongue, assuming that the cult would use her in some demented way. The group breaks Chiara out, and she takes an immediate liking to Elisa. We do get an interesting scene here where Ricardo is very angry about the kid joining the group, but Elisa defends the choice as she is incapable to survive the cult, obviously, as she's maybe 10 years old and she's already had the tongue taken out. It's just a really interesting display of characterization on how selfish Ricardo is, even though he's a dad himself, and Elisa's motherly, nature starting to kick in. As the story continues, As the story continues, Elisa begins to project the idea of the unborn child onto Chiara, which draws them closer. So this is demonstrated when Elisa stops to get shoes for Chiara before they try to escape through the forest. Elisa pulls her away from Ricardo and Fabrizio fighting about directions, and Chiara sleeps alongside Elisa when they make the return back into the red house. In the climax, this is where Elisa's full story really comes to light. So once the group has made camp in the red house overnight, Elisa wakes up with the sirens going off with everyone gone, soon to find the cult is setting up a ritual to sacrifice Sophia, Chiara, and Ricardo. The blank stares from the cult members represent this microscope or pressure Elisa has been feeling to make the correct decision around this abortion. Elisa's first response is to save the members, as they do reflect certain portions of her. So Ricardo represents male selfishness was put upon her. Sophia represents a young girl before the actions changing her, as well as the innocent yearning for love, whereas Chiara represents the unborn child and the idea of a new life and being fully herself. Seeing as she is outnumbered, Fabrizio drags her back into the house for safety. This moment from Fabrizio is symbolic of everything being taken away from her, like that was the moment nothing was the same. After the cult slays the members, we get a shot from inside the red house of Elisa grieving her friends and what they meant to her. Fabrizio tries to comfort her by hugging, and she reciprocates it until she finds the beer bottle. The beer bottle the group was drinking before the cult came in and kidnapped the group members. Fabrizio, when being confronted with this drugged beer, tries to gaslight Elisa into believing that he's just as emotionally hurt as she is and that he needs comfort too. To give more perspective to this scene, or to put it on a higher view, we have Elisa, who is physically and emotionally isolated from safety and sense of self, being alone in the dark with a strange man who's perceived to be safe. He then engages her by physical touch, which here is the hug, right, which is a form of intimacy. So this unravels a full circle moment for us. The drink was laced, she was isolated from the group, and being in a emotionally distraught state, Fabrizio engaged her in intimacy. I mean, it's in my opinion, I feel like it's pretty, straightforward in it. As we step back into the cinematic realm, Elisa finds an earpiece attached to Fabrizio with a woman's voice stating, "Fabrizio, can you hear me? Take her under the deer." The deer referring to the stag head we saw in the opening scene. Elisa now realizes that Fabrizio has a bigger role within this cult. Character-wise, we get to see Fabrizio's true manipulative nature as he changes his soft approach from the soft, trustworthy, reliable, "oh my gosh, I'm so hurt, like I need comfort too, I'm scared too," into this cruel, demanding, and dare I say brat, to get his earpiece back. From this, he takes a singular spiral into denial and the self-centered rage, while Lisa is silent and receptive. In the deeper story, we have a man intoxicated by his mother's ideology of who he is and his power, who blames conception of a child on a woman he took advantage of, quoting,
"You fucking whore! You're such a fucking slut! Total fucking slut! You hear me? You ruined it all!"
The scene, which is in the perspective of the stag head, ends with Fabrizio staring at the stag while a tall, large cloaked figure steps into the house and drags Elisa away. Using this point of view, it places the audience in a morally higher perspective, what I would imagine is God, while Fabrizio is demonstrating the God complex of men due to the convoluted power and sense of self. The dark figure represents the God complex judgment and Elisa's submission into this false God or judgment. So within the next scene, we're met with a complete contrast to the previous. We're brought into an outside feast with traditional Italian music playing and delicious visuals of classic Italian food. At this point, our protagonist is welcomed in by a straw bag being removed over her head, with her bloody, beaten, bruised face being met with at least 50 people gathered on both sides of this table, listening to a young boy sing an Italian song. On the opposite side of the table, in a fiery red power suit, is South Italy's mayor, Fabrizio's mother. By this point, Elisa has realized not only her surroundings, but her hands are nailed into a wheelchair in stigmata fashion. Elisa's first line of dialogue to this she-devil figure is, "Help me," to which the mayor stares at her expressionless. The mayor proceeds to lead a toast thanking the three kings, Ossa, Mastrosa, and Carnosa, before blessing everyone to eat. This scene thus far has a heavy religious undertone. It establishes that Elisa is a Christ figure. We have the Last Supper setting, and the mayor is symbolic of the Scarlet Woman found in Revelation 17. So as the group of 50 begins to eat, Elisa starts crying with this guttural moan that is so disruptive to the sound of the forks on plates. The group looks at her and starts mocking her this emotional breakdown. It's such a powerful moment because it really reflects, I mean, on the deeper plot line that we're talking about. It reflects this mishandling of society when someone, in this case Elsa, has faced something, some kind of essay or some kind of traumatic situation, it's this feeling that everyone around you is like, oh, they feel sorry for the person, but they're not doing much to change or to help, or it's just that bystander effect. It's very reminiscent of being mocked, and I feel like in the way that they portrayed it in this light, it's very direct. It's a very tasteful way to hit at a major point. The mayor intervenes with the disruption, which prompts her to engage with Elisa. As the mayor stands over Elisa, she explains that the group of cult followers are taken care of by providing to them like a mother. The mayor continues to explain that Elisa is the most important at the table because she is the sacrifice that will continue to provide for this group, stating,
"If you don't die, how can I take care of everyone here? Huh?"
So let's unpack this little by little. In the deeper story, Elisa is face to face with the person who is responsible for flourishing this egocentric thought that drives Fabrizio's behavior and laid the foundation for his god complex. Alicia's meeting with the mayor is demonstrating that behind every dangerous man is an even more dangerous woman. At the same time, we're presented with two stark contrasts of femininity. I don't think I said that right. It's fine. Elisa, who is gentle, kind, caring, and selfless, while the mayor is domineering, cold, calculated, and deceptive. There's something so daunting about a power-hungry woman letting another woman suffer like this. What makes women so special is our emotions and our empathy, but that doesn't exist in a woman of this caliber, which is directly expressed when the mayor is walking away to leave the camp with Elsa yelling, There's also a flipped perspective to this encounter that deepens the contrast between the two women. Up to this point, Elisa has been struggling with inner anxiety to follow through on the abortion and standing up to her mother about making her own independent choice on the matter. We've been uncovering that her mother is pressing for the abortion due to wanting Elisa to grow a successful career to give her parents monetary gain as a way to repay them for the sacrifices that they made for her future and education. Within this scene, the mayor is symbolically representing Elisa's inner voice of her mother. The dialogue tries to convey that this is just what happens when you're a woman, so term the birth to build yourself and to flourish your empire. Elisa is still being nailed to the wheelchair, visually represents the hostile nature of this conflict. From here, we then move into the following action of the story. After the meeting with the mayor, Elisa is put into a dark room with a TV streaming in Fabrizio from a different location. Fabrizio and Elisa have a back and forth on what exactly the cult is doing and how they made their money. In short, the group is making horror movies, or snuff, then with the connections of the mayor, selling them to high-paying wealthy individuals, which is providing for the lower class or the cult group. Elisa begins to laugh hysterically at the insane information being revealed, and begins to criticize Fabrizio's creativeness, which sends him into a rant about how society is too scared to watch a horror movie, but is surrounded on a daily basis by violent events. Alicia's reaction to this disturbing news is just the start of her rebirth. In this moment, we see her accept of this darkness that plagues the mayor, Fabrizio, and also the world. She's not accepting the behavior that drives the darkness, but rather the darkness in which the behavior is born from. Hey guys, editing self here. I just wanted to jump in because I feel like I explained this in a really weird way, and so I just wanted to clear it up. So again, she's not accepting the behavior or the actions that the mayor, Fabrizio, the group, and the world are putting forward, but it's this understanding and realization of these dark or negative thought patterns or emotions that cause this corruption and cause it to spiral, which leads into the actions that we see here. So I just wanted to clear that up a little bit. But if it wasn't super straightforward, hopefully this is a little bit better. This deeper understanding helps build the courage she needs to break free from her stigmata, and ultimately breaking her free from the anxieties of terming the child. As soon as Alicia breaks free, she's left to wander the camp, which is just a movie set. Things that once invoked terror are now just props, costumes, and fake blood. This is significant to Elisa's character growth, as now she has this new perspective that these scary things aren't real. She's come face to face with the true darkness of the world and has had this veil lifted from her vision. As she wanders further into the camp, her motherly nature of finding Kiara and getting her to safety never leaves, which further contrasts her from the mayor. Due to ruckus coming from the other side of the camp, Elisa goes to investigate to see who or what it is. She finds Fabrizio and Kiara, who's Fabrizio's little sister, discussing how they're going to kill Elisa to end the movie. The relationship dynamic between the two are very telling about who the mother or who the mayor is as a parent. Kiara, who's 10, 11, maybe 12 years old at most, is super dominant and authoritative to Fabrizio, which is, he's what, maybe early 20s. So it just continues to express this flipped nature between the masculine and feminine roles. Kiara, leaving to make her way to the red house to shoot the end of the movie, gets shot in front of Fabrizio by Elisa. This is pivotal as Elisa saw Kiara as her daughter, so to go from the revelation of information into such a violent kill really is just Elisa's taking her stance on this toxic feminine nature and ridding the world of the terrible darkness. She continues to turn her attack on Fabrizio, who of course tries to gaslight his way out of it. Elisa serves justice by shooting him in the head before escaping into the forest. As Elisa is trying to navigate the forest, her bloody, disheveled appearance is a physical representation of being marked by sin. She soon comes across a young boy in swim shorts and floaties, which seems to be the thing that brings her back into reality. Elisa then walks onto a crowded beach filled with pedestrians staring at her bloody, dilapidated state. Very similar to the cult staring at her before the sacrificial events took place, but this time she's not paying attention to the people around her. She's fixated on the ocean and just taking in this new scenery that's not such a killer camp. She soon stops as her phone starts getting countless notifications from her mom questioning about her whereabouts and letting her know that she's not getting away from getting the abortion. Elisa just drops her phone and continues on the path to baptism. No fucks given about her anxiety or her mother or even the horrible sins that were brought upon her. The closing scene is Elisa's full acceptance of the child and her role as a mother as she's seen holding her stomach and smiling. I just want to step in here because we did cover so much going into like the movie analysis part, that because of the duality of the storyline, I want to preface that Fabrizio personally did not essay Elise. My analysis is based on the story being an allusion to Elisa processing through the trauma of an essay. However, he is simply a implied metaphor for the events that happened to her before the story even started. So I just want to clarify that my argument is not Fabrizio took advantage of Elise. I'm saying that he was a catalyst in her processing through this trauma, as there's a bigger picture going on rather than just what meets the eye. I really love this movie for, again, like I said, there's a lot of reasons. I feel like it sheds light on the fact that, you know, unfortunately, like essays, let alone just traumatic events like that, happen all too often. There's clearly not enough there's not enough talk around it. There's not enough people, you know, really assuming some kind of role within, you know, standing up for people. A lot of that bystander effect. I mean, and it's like a bystander of a bystander effect. Like, it's not even that you were there in the room and like it happened when you left. Like, it's one of those things of like, even if someone comes to you and you're like, it happened, like, I don't know. I have thoughts and feelings about that, and that shit's just really super fucked up. Let me tell you, really fucked up. Okay, I feel like my thoughts were super blurry when I originally recorded this, mainly because it was so late at night and I was just so brain dead. So I want to better explain a little bit more. So the isolation that Elisa experienced throughout the movie, I believe, highlights the lack of victim advocacy around SA and ST experiences. Elisa was looking for someone that she could get attached to for closeness and love, which at the beginning of the movie was her mom and later moved into Kiara. And I would even argue that Sophia, you know, she was a big part of that, as she did talk to Elisa as she was a normal person and was able to pick up on the fact that she was pregnant, and that never changed Sophia's opinion or thoughts about Elisa. So the scene with everybody mocking Elisa, like I said, is like a bystander effect, but obviously the event has already taken place because, as we mentioned, this is an illusion for the whole experience that she'd gone through. So you have people, whether immediate close family members or friends or absolute strangers, that need to know the story for, you know, maybe a police report or legal needing to know it legally, or maybe someone just posted about it on Facebook and kind of just started sharing this story without the approval of the person who was the victim of it, that don't know what emotions to reciprocate. So you have this bless your heart sympathy that's reminiscent of someone mocking your pain. Following scene with Elisa and the mayor having a confrontation, Elisa had to pick what choice she was going to make, you know, to let this pain and suffering consume her or turn that pain into anger, but for the better. It resembles the choice that a lot of victims go through, to either be defined by the trauma or to redefine into a survivor. I mean, apart from that, like, I think it is really interesting that, you know, a classic horror story would be just that. It'd be the modern day classic horror story. I mean, think about it. You have these overinflated egos and, you know, so much wealth in the world that it causes corruption, and, you know, you start having these divides between what is really what's really good and pure, and what, you know, brings to light the true emotion and walking in the path of putting your best foot forward, as compared to, you know, the greed, and that greed literally coming from stepping on people who are walking the better path in that way. I feel like that was really super simple, what I just said. But no, so after putting together this script, which really was originally supposed to be a blog post, I was going to hide it on the back pages of Tumblr. That's why it is very, I don't know, there's a few other things that I'm working on, and those are going to be a little bit more conversational. I felt like I was just kind of throwing a lot of shit at y'all. But a few things that kind of hit me that I thought were really super interesting was, I did some more digging into Revelation 17. There is a point where there is 5 heads, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, because technically, I mean, by technicality, you would have Mark, right, who's your first, you have Sophia, Ricardo, and then you would have Fabrizio and Kiara, right? Like, those are the 5 heads. Well, within Romans 17, there is a passage, which I don't have the full numbers on it, I'm so sorry. You can find it, it's in Revelation 17. There are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other has not yet come, but when he does, he must remain for a little while. The beast who once was and now is an 8th king. He belongs to the 7th and is headed for destruction. There's 7 kings, right? Like, 5 have fallen, so you have those 5, right? And then you have 1 is, right? Meaning that these kings are currently living. I really think that that's referring to the mayor. I consider her to be more like a she-devil. I guess it's not really biblically accurate, but I think that she is more of that she-devil who would be, right? And then the other has not yet come, so referring that, it seems like this line of corruption would continue on. Or honestly, if we're being super real, it could be the baby. I don't know. Could be the baby. I mean, I feel like I might be looking into this too deep. I may have been on the internet for too damn long and let myself just run analytically. So I think we need to reel it back in. But I do think it is very interesting. I feel like this entry really influenced the movie a lot, and I wish I did more of a deep dive into it specifically, but definitely worth mentioning. Again, I mean, even if it's not a super deep dive, like, it's just another lens to watch the movie through and really just revisit it on a different light, and again, just have a newfound appreciation for it, I guess. Another entry that caught my eye. In Leviticus 16, it reads, "He will cast lots to decide which goat is for the Lord and which is for Azazel, the scapegoat. The goat chosen for the Lord will be offered as a sin offering. The goat chosen for Azazel will be kept alive and sent into the wilderness to carry away the sins of the people." The event that started our rising action was when Mark veered off the road due to the dead goat being in the road, leading him to crash into a tree. So we later see the goat in the camp with its throat slit that would resemble some kind of offering. So this is kind of the precursor that got my mind thinking about how it resembles Leviticus 16. We do get two different goats, right? So you're going to have your sin offering, and then you're also going to have your scapegoat. So we have Elisa, on the other hand, who ultimately is anointed as the most important by the mayor, which would be the scapegoat who would carry the sins into the wilderness. Elisa is carrying away the sin of people, right? So like without her sacrifice, like these people wouldn't be taken care of and fed and be able to live the life that they have. But at the same time, I mean, she's technically carrying the sin of this SA. She's carrying this child, and not only that, but she's assuming the role of a mother. Like, she's not letting the traumatic experience and emotions hold her back from stepping into that role. So if you think about it, she was the one who found the ugly truth and continued to survive this fucked up movie production, then escaped through the woods into baptism. Honestly, as I was writing this, I was also started to find that the anointment coming from the mayor furthered my idea of this God complex submission that we saw earlier from Fabrizio and his, taking of Elise out of the house. Again, I could go further into this idea, but it was on the tail end of my research, and I just kind of connected the two and two. So maybe y'all can rewatch it through the lens and let me know how this, imagery of a sin offering goat and a scapegoat really play into the overall theme of the movie. So again, I think that I really could have dug super deep into this, especially going off of Revelation 17 and then with this one. Again, if more than anything, if it just gives you a new perspective on, watching the movie, let alone realizing that it's not just a let's throw blood everywhere. At least I did something. That's kind of the goal here. I do also want to talk about Fabrizio just as like a character. Like, God, I loved him. So, I mean, he did bad things, but his horror movie references and like it just is so scream coded. The scene that really sets the tone for Fabrizio's character, as well as just the witty undertones of the horror genre as well, is when Fabrizio corrects Sophia on what Pennywise feeds on. I don't know, I think it's so funny. I feel like as horror fans, like, I know we've all had these moments where people have have said something inaccurate or maybe assumed one thing, and so we go to correct them, and then you get this weird moment of like, wait, but why do you know that? Like, why do you know so much about this character's lore? I think it's just a really great moment to build that characterization and then just make the plot twist even more lovable. Like, it really does pull on the nostalgia of Scream. Like, for example, he says, you never go into the woods by yourself, right? Like, you just don't do that because that's just the horror movie rules, right? And so you see him tag up with Fabrizio to go into the woods. And then he even sets Mark up to be isolated, which causes him to get kidnapped right by the cult and die. So it's very interesting. And the first watch through, and maybe even second, you wouldn't catch it. But he randomly kind of starts this anxiety of like, we need to get in the house, like we need to leave, we need to get into the house. And so Mark is then left there by himself. Like, it's so interesting. And then what fucking kills me is the spoiler shirt. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Bro, like, I'm telling you, that gets me every single time. Like, he is just such an embodiment of the horror movie community and your stereotypical fan, and it's very playful in a movie that takes on, you know, such depth and does it very beautifully. And again, it gives you some eye-opening perspective while enjoying it and having fun with it. It's so neat. I absolutely love this movie for sure. Okay, so another idea I want to throw out there, as if we need any more ideas around this movie. Again, these are not facts. I didn't deep dive into it. It's just kind of an observation I've made since working on the actual recording of this video, is that I think that there's a message about technology here too. So the ending scene where Elisa walks onto the beach, everyone is recording her. Plus she gets the text messages from her mom. It just seems a little important. Like, it definitely visually stands out, especially with Fabrizio's monologue about violent crime being in the media. So I don't know. And I also, as I was thinking about this, I feel like I was just getting, y'all, I went into a rabbit hole. I really did. Writing this, the wheels really started turning for me. So if you think about it, so you have people recording the crime, right? So by association, you have this bystander effect in action because somebody is recording it rather than helping, right? Well, Elisa, who, you know, was affected by crime, is now receiving this emotional bystander effect, which just seems really interesting, you know, in the comparison of the two, especially the message of the physical bystander aspect and this emotional bystander aspect. So I don't know, just some more food for thought. I really need to just put this project down and just leave it as is, but I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. Because there's a lot. That's what I'm saying. There's so much to this movie. And that's why I think it's one of my favorites, is because, again, like, y'all, I don't think you understand. I have watched this movie at least 50 times. Like, at least 50 times. And, you know, every watch through is so different because you have different lenses. And I'm not gonna lie, like, a majority of the time, like, I do, like, I'll start choking up, or like I will get too much in the headspace of Elise and like start, like, you know, getting choked up about it, because it is it's an emotional roller coaster for sure. So God, I hope y'all like it. I hope y'all enjoy it as much as I do. I know it's just a movie, but it's a damn good movie, let me tell you. Okay, I know I keep saying it, but I deeply love this movie. From the depth of the writing to the scares to the display of Italian culture we get. I thought it was super well done. To find movies, let alone horror movies, with so many layers is incredible. I do hope that you watch or rewatch this movie with a new lens of perspective, whether it's, you know, a religious rebirth, overcoming trauma, imbalances of gender roles, or a desensitization. Yes, that word, of society through media, etc. I really cannot wait to hear what y'all think. If y'all, you know, kind of explore the technology side of things, or maybe explore more of the religious passages, please, please, please. I want to know. I want to open that conversation. I think that movies, especially horror movies, are really great about starting conversations within these. So yeah, I'm so glad you watched. So please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I will be putting out videos weekly. I'm still establishing a schedule, but I have, y'all, let me tell you, I have so many movies I want to talk about and only so much time during the day. So please leave any suggestions you have in the comments, as well as again, any new discoveries you found within this film. So I will see you soon.